Switzerland, officially the Swiss Confederation, is a landlocked country located at the confluence of Western, Central, and Southern Europe. The country is a federal republic composed of 26 cantons, with federal authorities based in Bern. Switzerland is bordered by Italy to the south, France to the west, Germany to the north, and Austria and Liechtenstein to the east. It is geographically divided among the Swiss plateau, the Alps, and the Jura, spanning a total area of 41,285 km to 15,940 sq mi and land area of 39,997 km to 15,443 sq mi. Although the Alps occupy the greater part of the territory, the Swiss population of approximately 8.7 million is concentrated mostly on the plateau, where the largest cities and economic centers are, among them Zurich, Geneva, and Basel. These three cities are home to several offices of international organizations, such as the WTO, the WHO, the ILO, the headquarters of FIFA, the UN's second largest office, as well as the main office of the Bank for International Settlements. The main international airports of Switzerland are also located in these cities. Symbolism. The national symbols mirror the attempt to achieve unity while maintaining diversity. The stained glass windows of the House of Parliament's dome show the cantonal flags brought together around the national emblem of a white cross on a red background, surrounded by the motto "One for all for one." The national flag, officially adopted in 1848, originated in the 14th century, as the first Confederate cantons needed a common sign for recognition among their armies. The white cross on a red background comes from the flag of the Canton of Schwyz, which has a red background symbolizing holy justice and a small representation of Christ on the cross at the upper left corner. Because of the ferocity of the Swiss soldiers, their enemies used the name of this canton to designate all the Confederated cantons. Food and economy. Food in daily life. Regional and local culinary specialties generally are based on a traditional type of cooking, rich in calories and fat, that is more suited to outdoor activity than to a sedentary way of life. Dairy products such as butter, cream, and cheese are important parts of the diet, along with pork. More recent eating habits show a growing concern for healthy food and a growing taste for exotic food. Basic economy. A lack of raw materials and limited agricultural production. 1/4 of the territory is unproductive because of mountains, lakes, and rivers cause Switzerland to develop an economy based on the transformation of imported raw materials into high added value finished products mainly destined for exportation. The economy is highly specialized and dependent on international trade. The per capita gross domestic product is the second highest among the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development countries. Social stratification, classes and castes. In one of the wealthiest countries in the world, the richest 20% of the population owns 80% of total private assets. Yet the class structure is not particularly visible. The middle class is large, and for its members, upward or downward social mobility is rather easy. Symbols of social stratification. The cultural norm is for wealth to remain discreet. To manifest a demonstration of wealth is negatively valued, but poverty is perceived as shameful, and many people hide their economic situation. Social welfare. Social welfare is mainly a public system organized at the federal level and partially financed by an insurance system involving direct contributions by residents. An exception is health coverage, which is obligatory but decentralized among hundreds of insurance companies. Federal regulation of health coverage is minimal, and contributions are not proportional to one's salary. Parental leave depends on sector-based agreements between employees and unions, non-governmental organizations, and other associations. Associative life ranges from the local level to the federal level. The rights of referendum and initiative foster active participation by citizens in numerous associations and movements, which are widely consulted by the political authorities. The authorities' search for social consensus results in a kind of institutionalization of these movements, which are rapidly integrated into the social system. Division of labor by gender. Although women's situation has improved since the 1970s, the constitutional article dealing with equality between the sexes has not been effective in many fields. The dominant model of sex roles is traditional, reserving the private sphere for and the public sphere for men. Marriage, family, and kinship. Marriage Marriages are not arranged anymore, but there has been a persistence of endogamy in terms of social class. Binational marriages represent a growing trend. After a loss of popularity in the 1970s and 1980s, the marriage rate increased in the 1990s. Couples get married late in life, and divorce and remarriage are common. Domestic unit. Households made of one or two persons represented only 1/4 of households in the 1920s, but accounted for 2/3 in the 1990s. The extended family of the beginning of the 20th century, with 3 or more generations living together, has been replaced by the nuclear family. Both parents share family responsibility. Kin groups. Although kin groups no longer live under the same roof, they have not lost their social function. Mutual support among kin groups is still important, especially in critical situations such as unemployment and illness. Socialization, infant care. Although the second half of the 20th century saw the appearance of fathers who take an active part in their children's education, child care is still seen mainly as a mother's responsibility. Women often face this responsibility while being professionally active, and the demand for daycare centers is far beyond their availability. Child rearing and education. Traditional conceptions of child rearing are still strong. This often is seen as a natural process that takes place primarily in the family, especially between a child and his or her mother. Daycare centers often are seen as institutions for children whose mothers are forced to work. Higher education. Education and training are highly valued in a country with few natural resources. The emphasis has traditionally been on vocational training through a system of apprenticeship. The most popular areas are the clerical professions, 24% of the apprentices, and professions in the machine industry, 23%. Religion. Religious beliefs. Catholicism and Protestantism are the major religions. For centuries, Catholics were a minority. But in 1990, there were more Catholics, 46%, than Protestants, 40%. The proportion of people belonging to other churches has risen since 1980. The Muslim community, representing over 2% of the population in 1990, is the largest religious minority. The Jewish community has always been very small and experienced discrimination. In 1866, Swiss Jews received the constitutional rights held by their Christian fellow citizens. Death and the afterlife. In the past, death was part of the social life of a community and involved a precise set of rituals, but the modern tendency has been to minimize the social visibility of death. More people die in the hospital than at home. Funeral homes organize funerals, and there are no more funeral processions or mourning clothing. Medicine and health care. In the 20th century, life expectancy increased and health expenditures have been increasing. As a consequence, the health system is confronted by the ethical dilemma of rationalizing health services. The Western biomedical model is dominant among the medical authorities and most of the population, and the use of natural or complementary medicines is limited. Secular celebrations. Celebrations and official holidays differ from canton to canton. Common to the whole country are National Day 1 August and New Year's Day 1 January. Religious celebrations shared by Protestants and Catholics include Christmas 25 December, Good Friday, Easter, Ascension, and Pentecost. Arts. Support for the arts. Several institutions support cultural activities, including cantons and communes, the Confederation, foundations, corporations, and private donors. At the national level, this is the task of the Federal Office for Culture and Pro Helvetia, an autonomous foundation financed by the Confederation to support artists. The Federal Office for Culture is advised by experts who represent the linguistic regions and are often artists themselves. Pro Helvetia supports or organizes cultural activities in foreign countries. Within the nation, it supports literary and musical work as well as cultural exchanges between linguistic regions. Literature. Literature reflects the national linguistic situation. Very few authors reach a national audience because of the language, but also because of the cultural differences between the linguistic regions. French-speaking Swiss literature is oriented towards France, and German-speaking Swiss literature towards Germany. Both are engaged in a love-hate relationship with their imposing neighbors and try to create a distinctive identity. The state of the physical and social sciences. The physical sciences receive a high level of funding because they are considered crucial for maintaining and strengthening the country's technological and economic position. Swiss research in physical sciences has an excellent international reputation. A growing source of concern is that many young researchers trained in Switzerland move to other countries to find better opportunities to continue their research activities or develop applications of their findings. The situation of the social sciences is less positive as a result of low level of funding and a lack of status and public attention.